Hello there, good evening, and welcome back to the Football Tribe YouTube channel. My name is Robert K. Sankos, and thank you for tuning into the channel. For my regulars, I wish to extend my sincere apologies for I was unavailable to do the matchday preview for matchday 8 of the Premier League there. Got held up with some work deadlines that I had to fulfill. As you know, life can happen. So I was unable to come through on that end, but I'm glad that we are back now. I can't promise we will be here every day, but I can promise that if you do hit that subscription button and turn on your notifications, you will be notified once we have a new video out. Otherwise, thank you for returning to the channel. Thank you for taking the time to watch and to listen from wherever it is that you're catching this from. Welcome back from all the action of match day 8, and we'll be looking at that a little bit, our team of the week for match day 8, as well as we'll discuss the things that we have in plan, including a review of the Premier League table versus our predictions for the 2023 Premier League season. So do join me on this journey as we look at that. So as you already know the results that came out of matchday 8, but just in case you need a recap of those, we had Luton Town lose to a 10-man Tottenham. Yuvis Bissouma there being given a red card, so he was seen off. And for the better part of the game, Tottenham were down to 10 men, but they managed to win that one 1-0, thanks to Van de Ven, who scored that only goal of the game. Tottenham have been brilliant this season, very, very impressive. 20 points from the opening 8 games, 6 wins and 2 draws. Their draws coming up against Brentford and Arsenal, both being 2-2 draws. And in some of their big wins, they've had to beat up against teams like Liverpool. Never mind that the game was a bit controversial given the officiating decisions that did happen in that game, including a cancelled goal there for offside for Luis Diaz. But never mind, I think they've been extremely impressive. Ange Postecoglou is doing everything right with the Spurs team. James Maddison did provide the assist in the weekend, so he continues to be brilliant. One of the best summer signings of the season so far after matchday 8. So I thought that was a beautiful game to watch on Saturday. Chelsea winning by 4-1, beating up against Burnley. Remember, Burnley was one of those teams that we had predicted that will be the dark horses of the season. It is increasingly looking to be going to be unlikely for them to match that prediction, perhaps unless they can turn the tide around. Otherwise, they've lost, I think, 6 games. They've drawn 1 and won 1. So very, very bad a result for Vincent Kompany, and I'm sure his bosses may start to have question marks lingering over his stay, not because he's a bad manager, but if they want to ensure a stay in the Premier League for next season, they may have to, start wondering whether they need to have him replaced. So Burnley losing by 4-1. Wilson Odegaard opening the scoring there for Burnley, but Chelsea did respond, although it was Amin Al-Dakil with an own goal there that leveled the score before Cole Palmer, the summer signing for Manchester City, converted from the spot kick to make it 2-1, and then you had Raheem Sterling and Nicholas Jackson there, the summer signing from Villarreal, completing the 4-1 score line there. Good result for Mauricio Pochettino, getting back-to-back wins in the Premier League for the first time this season. So, brilliant game. You remember they came into that game at the back of beating up against Fulham by 2-0. So that makes it 3 victories for them this season out of 8 Premier League games. The first coming against Luton Town, and then their draw against Liverpool on matchday 1. So it's really too early to say if they've started to pick up their pace and momentum, but I do know that they do play Arsenal after the international break. So, but it was a brilliant result for Mauricio Pochettino there to register. And in the other game, we had Everton beating up against AFC Bournemouth. Now, Andoni Iraola could be one of those that should be worried for his jobs in the English Premier League because results are not yet going his way. Now, on the other side, Sean Dyche, we are yet to know what Everton will be in full shape this season because they win a game here, then lose the next, and then they sort of win the next one, and they're sort of getting a bit hot and cold after the very cold start that they had into the season. But I did think it was a brilliant result for Sean Dyche's side there. You had Ghana, Harrison, and Diakore on target there for the Toffees. And then we had Fulham beat up against Sheffield United by 3-1 there. The Cordova raid and Fordingham, that was an own goal for Fordingham. And then Willian Bogesta Silva scoring for Fulham, while Robinson also did score an own goal that turned out to be the only consolation for Sheffield United. Then we had Manchester United beat up against Brentford. Now, if you're a Manchester United fan, it is hard to predict what your team will give you this season because there's a lot of question marks. You can't keep playing games this way, and perhaps even when you pick a win this way, because United had to dig deep and win it late in stoppage time with Scott McTominay scoring a brace there to win it for Erik Ten Hag, who I thought had he lost that game would have been headed for a very tough period where perhaps they would have set an ultimatum for him perhaps to win maybe the next 5 games or, be shown the exit. I really don't know, but that's what I do think would have happened. But thanks to Scott McTominay, he still has a cushion in terms of having his job there because, as you know, Manchester United is a very big team. I'm not sure they are very willing to linger around with a stretch of bad results just to wait and see what the manager can pull out of his sleeve to then save them back. Especially given the competitiveness that they tried to show last season, but not a decent display from the Manchester United side, but a result that they really needed to have on their side. Like I said, Scott McTominay did a score in that game to cancel Matthias Jensen's earlier goal, for which most blame Andre Onana for failing to save that one. Maybe he could have done more. But in my observation, you could also say that his defender was trying to block the ball, so maybe he didn't have a clear view as we all think he had as that ball headed towards him. But again, he is yet to put out those stellar performances where he makes save out during the course of the game. So there's still a couple of question marks on Andre Onana, but like Ten Hag, Andre Onana has Scott McTominay to thank for taking off that pressure off their shoulders with that brace that gave them all 3 points. And then we had Crystal Palace share the spoils with Nottingham Forest. Again, now, one would think that on the back of beating up against Manchester United by a goal to nil, Crystal Palace would go ahead and beat up against Nottingham Forest. But usually these mid-table teams have a way of cancelling themselves whenever they do meet. But nonetheless, I do think it was a fair result for the 2 sides. Then Liverpool did share the spoils with Brighton and Hove Albion. Another brilliant game of football there. Mo Salah scoring a brace in that one, while Simon Adingra and Lewis Dunk on target for Roberto De Zerbi's side. Now, then we also had in the same weekend West Ham share the spoils with Newcastle in a 2-2 draw. And now I do think West Ham were quite brilliant in terms of trying to suffocate Newcastle in that midfield. But once they returned for the second half, Newcastle did seem to be the better side, and they went on to level the scoreline after Thomas Soucek had given West Ham the lead before halftime. Alexander Isak scoring a brace to make it 2-1. But once he was withdrawn, West Ham also did introduce Mohamed Kudus, their summer signing from Ajax, that squad to level matters. So a fair point for David Moyes' side for their display, but a part of me had thought that on the back of that impressive performance, beating up against PSG in the Champions League by 4-1, you would think they had it in them. They had all the motivation, everything going for them to go ahead and pick all 3 points against West Ham. But as you know, the Premier League can be sometimes very unpredictable, and those are some of the results that you get when such teams meet. So, but anyway, still a decent result for both managers, although either of them would have wanted more out of this game. But brilliant game of football. Kieran Trippier there, the Newcastle captain, providing a very brilliant assist to Alexander Isak in that game. No wonder he does make our team of the week, as we'll see in a bit. Then Aston Villa did also share the spoils with Wolverhampton Wanderers. Again, Wolverhampton Wanderers did come in the game on the back of beating up against Manchester City by 2-1. But that's not to say that Aston Villa would have been any easy ask. Wang Hee-chan, the scorer of the winner against Manchester City in that 2-1 victory, did score the goal here for Wolves, while Pau Torres, the defender, summer signing from Villarreal there, Unai Emery's former club, did level matters for Aston Villa, and 1-1 it ended. So beautiful game of football, and then came the biggest game of match day 8, that was between Arsenal and Manchester City. Very beautiful game of football to watch. I thought both sides were 50-50. They did give a lot of respect to each other, especially in the way they defended once they found themselves on the back foot. Manchester City did commit all their numbers to the back once they lost that ball, just as much as Arsenal did on the other end. Now Nathan Ake will perhaps beat his head against the wall, having missed that chance early on in the first half. Perhaps the result could have been different. But again, on the other side, Manchester City did give away a chance there with Eddie Nketiah firing it wide of the mark there. And then, generally speaking, like I said, it was a 50-50. Every side sort of went in the offense with a certain reservation, knowing that they could be hurt if they overcommitted they could be hurt by the opponent. So they played against each other with a lot of respect. Both sides did miss key players. Arsenal were without their star player, Bukayo Saka, while Leandro Trossard suffered an injury in the first half. That's why you had Martinelli coming on in the second half. While on the other side, Manchester City did miss their midfield general in Rodri, who was serving his third game for that red card that he sustained against Nottingham Forest in their 2-0 victory against Nottingham Forest. So, a brilliant game of football. It was a very tactical game. Pep Guardiola starting with Bernardo Silva in that midfield role, deep holding midfield role, alongside Mateo Kovacic, who many thought should have seen a red card in the game, and I do not disagree with them. For the first tackle that he made, yes, it was worthy of a red card, but I also do understand why perhaps the referee didn't give it. Usually in such big games, you do not want to, just cool it down right there and then with dishing out a red card. But given how things have transpired in previous meetings, you've had the likes of Gabriel Magalhaes being sent off in this fixture. You had Granit Xhaka once be sent off in this very fixture. You wouldn't have blamed Mike Oliver had he dished out a red card. Now, my sticking bit is on that second tackle after the first one on Martin Odegaard, and he dished a yellow card. Moments later, Mateo Kovacic was again a culprit, again with a late challenge on Declan Rice this time round, which was worthy of a second booking and hence a red card, which wasn't given. So, Mike Oliver there will have to check himself as on those decisions. Now, it's not to say that it was cast in stone that he should have given it, but all we are asking for is a little bit of consistency in the manner in which such red cards have been issued. I do seem to remember, I think it was Mark Oliver himself who brandished a red card to Gabriel Martinelli for a sequence of two fouls that happened within the same space of play, and he issued two yellow cards there and then, and subsequently a red card. So it was quite questionable for him not to issue Mateo Kovacic with a red card in that game. Anyway, it was what it was, but Arsenal managed to snatch it all away thanks to a strike by Gabriel Martinelli there. Brilliant, fast, strike there. Ball is deflected by Nathan Ake and it ends up in the back of the net. Much credit is given to Thomas Partey for that long ball into Takahiro Tomiyasu, who had actually been brought on to try and contain Doku, who had been brought on there along with Matthias Nunes at the same time. So, but then once Doku switched flanks, Tomiyasu did commit himself in the forward, receiving that pass from Thomas Partey, heading it towards Kai Havertz, who laid it then back to Gabriel Martinelli and he struck it for first time. So 1-0, I thought in the end, overall, given that they were at home and given how the game transpired, Arsenal did deserve those 3 points. Now, it doesn't mean that based on that result, Arsenal will win the title, although they were my prediction to win the Premier League title. But I think it is a big result in terms of what it means for their confidence going forward for the remainder of the season, and perhaps how they will tackle other bigger fixtures that will be coming their way. Remember, they did play Chelsea after the international break. So, big result there for Mikel Arteta and his men, especially knowing that they were without their star boy in Bukayo Saka, among other injuries there. But, brilliant game of football, well tactically masterminded there by the two managers, with Arteta for once getting the better of his master, with Arsenal only managing to win against Manchester City on the 13th attempt, having lost the previous 12, to Manchester City. And they also did keep a clean sheet. Question marks raised over David Raya in terms of the way he applied himself, but as Mikel Arteta said in the post-match press conference, that it was his desire that he does, portray himself in that manner, the way he handled himself and all. It was a tactical way of that he wanted to play the game. So beautiful stuff from the weekend. And here is our team all the week. Now, our manager for the week will be Mikel Arteta, there to man this team that will have Jordan Pickford in goal. Although it was a contentious choice between Jordan Pickford and Sam Johnston, but I did think that Jordan Pickford keeping a clean sheet for at home, given Everton's recent track record, he did deserve to be in the team. And then in the back line, we have a back three of William Saliba, Mickey van de Ven of Tottenham, and Kieran Trippier. All defenders were quite sensational. Their teams, Saliba did manage to hold off Erling Haaland, limiting him to 0 shots for the first time in a Premier League game against the opponent, while Mickey van de Ven did score the only goal that gave Tottenham all 3 points against Luton Town, while Kieran Trippier did provide a brilliant assist to Alexander Isak there before he leveled matters. And then in midfield, again, we went with a midfield of 4. We have Declan Rice in that middle of the pack. We have Thomas Tuchel, who did score for West Ham there, as well as Scott McTominay, who scored a brace against Brentford there, as well as Diakore of Everton, managed to get himself on the score sheet once again. Brilliant player he is. Then in the forward line, it was Mo Salah with his brace from that game, from that draw against Brighton, while the other is Alexander Isak, again, who also scored a brace against West Ham. And finally, it was Raheem Sterling joining this team. So, brilliant stuff there. That's our team all the week from match day 8. But I did think these also deserved honorary mentions from the weekend. James Maddison, brilliant game he had there. Pau Torres defender scoring for Aston Villa there, Bernardo Silva. Although they did lose, I did think he did generally play well in that midfield. But it also begs the question why Pep Guardiola does not trust Calvin Phillips, their signing from Leeds, who has not played much at Manchester City ever since joining them from Leeds. And then Sam Johnston, the Crystal Palace goalkeeper, as well as Gabriel Martinelli. I did think those deserved honorable mentions in our team of the week, or as you'd love to put it, they deserve to be on our bench for this team of the week. So keep it locked on the channel, and we'll be reviewing the Premier League table, what teams have managed to do so far at this stage of the season after 8 games played in the Premier League, and we'll look at other matters elsewhere. Like I said in my previous video, the rights to host the Euro 2028 have been awarded to the UK and Ireland, so they will be the hosts there for Euro 2028. Cities like Belfast, London, Manchester, Liverpool, Newcastle will all be home to matches for the Euro 2028. So congratulations to those nations there that will be hosting that big European Championship. Remember, next year's edition will be hosted in Germany. Otherwise, that's it from the Football Tribe News Desk. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Stay blessed.